Hi, I'm Spencer Wan. I am an animator and the sole owner of Studio Grackle. I was the animation director on Castlevania, animation supervisor on Owl House, and I animate in anime sometimes. So actually the collaboration with Supergiant came about through a Twitter DM. The art director Gen Z from Supergiant approached me asking to work on this Hades trailer as an individual, but apparently there's a bill that prevents them from hiring an individual as a freelancer, so I needed a business entity, and I sort of jokingly said that if I was gonna incorporate, I might as well just form a studio and hire a team, and they were like, yeah, why don't you do that? And I was like, okay. So it was less of an accident and more just completely unintentional, but that doesn't read as good in a tweet. Basically, the first thing that needed to happen when I started working on this project was that I had to collect people to work on it, and so I started going back through my experiences and trying to think of people who would be most appropriate for Hades. The first person I picked up was Craig Nowicki, so I knew this project would need a lot of crazy compositing, especially for the fourth scene with Zagreus dodging around fighting the Hydras. When I saw that in rough, I immediately thought that without some sort of compositing treatment, it was going to look too flat, and I knew we would need depth of field. Craig spent so long on that scene. I think it took him like 3 weeks of me giving him notes and tuning it, and it really turned out amazing. Another person who was really important to our production was Robbie Cook. Robbie had also worked on Castlevania with me before, and like Craig, we were comfortable working together already. So I definitely wanted to have Robbie on board, because having someone that your team is already comfortable working with makes production function a lot smoother. When it came to the animation team, I pulled a lot of talent from anime productions I've worked on before. So immediately I knew I wanted Ching Z. I've worked on a few of Ching Z's projects before, but he'd never worked on one of mine. I wasn't sure if he'd want to work on one of my projects, but the moment I brought it up, he was pretty eager to jump in. Waylon was a pretty obvious choice for me as well. The work he's done, especially at his age, has always been pretty incredible, and I knew we were going to have at least one crazy scene that would need someone like that on it. People probably don't realize this looking at it, but that depth of field effect was really hard to achieve. It was this crazy collaboration where Robbie had to first split all of the balls of the Hydra into different layers to create the depth of field effect, and then Craig had to run that through his system and tune it until it looked proper. And every time he needed to render it, I think it took something like 5 hours. Jim and Maverick were also animators that I'd been impressed with when we were working together. I hadn't spoken to them very much like I had with Waylon and Ching Z, but I knew I liked their work and we needed people who were pretty solid for this first project. I'm glad I picked them because their work came out amazing. So Jane Bach was a background artist that I'd worked with before on Owl House. She actually wasn't my first pick because I was 100% certain she wouldn't want to do it, but then my initial pick dropped out on me, and as a Hail Mary, I ended up asking Jane, and she said yes. Which definitely saved us on this project because Jane nailed the backgrounds on the first try, and I only gave her one note in the 4 months we were working together. The news of Studio Grackle forming was going hand in hand with the news of the Hades trailer. I really thought that the Hades trailer would just completely bury the fact that we had started an animation studio, but thanks to Supergiant, we were able to put the trailer online as well, and they credited us, which is something that you really don't see from a lot of studios. I mean, our Twitter only had 5 followers when we released this trailer, and now we have something like 17,000. I never thought we would gain that so quickly. It was amazing, man. Like, I've seen people react to my work before, but seeing it as the work of this studio, this thing that we all made, it felt totally different. I don't know exactly how else to say it. I've told the people who work at Supergiant this in private before, but I'd want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity and for changing my career. When it comes to the future, things are still a little bit unclear right now. I mean, we've only just started, but I do want to get into original as soon as we can, and as always, I want the studio to grow responsibly so that we can pay our artists properly. We're not a union studio, at least not yet, but it's worth mentioning that everyone who worked on this project did get paid union rates, which for some of the animators was a first. And I want to keep offering opportunities to animators who maybe haven't been able to make rates like this before. I want Studio Grackle to be a studio for the artists, so my highest priority as the studio's owner is always going to be to create a place where artists are treated with respect and fairness, because as an artist, that's what's most important to me. I'm Spencer Wan, thanks for watching, and if you want to follow Studio Grackle, you can find us on social media or at studiograckle.com.